Welcome back. So last week we looked at some of the things that constitute the history. I want to look at nursing information systems. The nursing information systems, basically they are used in 4 fields, which is in clinical practice, nursing education, nursing research, and then nursing administration. Now in clinical practice, we are looking at the softwares or the technologies that are used in clinical practice, which includes automatic billing, which includes computer-generated nursing care plan and critical pathway. Now we talk about nursing administration, the things that are used, for example, email, cost analysis, and then quality assurance and outcome analysis. For nursing education, we are looking at computerized record keeping, computerized assisted instruction, and many others in the field that are used for teaching. Distance learning is also something that is in vogue now. And for research, we are looking at computerized literature search, retrieval of evidence-based practice, and many things in that regard. So those are the things that constitute nursing information systems. And then we also have emerging technologies like automation of documentation, the EHR system, telehealth, telenursing is becoming more predominant, and then many online platforms, the barcode, and many things have become easily accessible. Now there are various fields in which nursing informatics is used: medical device integration, smart devices, personalized healthcare, remote monitoring, data warehousing, voice recognition, predictive modeling. These are the areas we are going into. Now when we talk about the vocabulary of information technologies, we are looking at the propositions that were made by the International Council of Nurses with the aim of developing terminologies or various ways of communication among nurses. So the ICNP wanted to do something that to facilitate cross-mapping of existing nursing vocabularies and classifications to enable comparison of nursing data across organizations, health sector, and countries. So basically the various ways in which these nursing systems communicate is key. This is to ensure standardization. When we get to standardization in nursing informatics, we will look at some of the things that contribute to standardization. Now let's quickly look at usability of health informatics application, and this is where we'll end this video. So when we are talking about usability of health informatics application, we are looking at the fact that they help us meet clinical and business needs. That is number one. They help improve information access and availability across the continuum of care. They are also instrumental in massive transformation. Many of the transformations that have characterized the world and health sector in particular is based on these technologies that have come about. So for example, for massive transformation, we are looking at the fact that we have moved from the paper-based islands to now an interconnected system where people can communicate effectively without any challenge. This is where we'll end this video. See you in the next session. Bye. Welcome back. Now let's look at tools used in nursing informatics, or tools used in information technology. That is, we are looking at webs and other research tools. If you are watching this video, then definitely you are using a video conferencing tool like YouTube, where you can actually access by video. So it's part of researching. There are websites and the internet. I'll not go too much into those histories because that is the ICT part of it. So you can check out the ICT videos to get more understanding. But for the purpose of research, there are softwares like Mendeley. There are a lot of databases where you can do your literature review that provide in-depth information. And we are also looking at the fact that distance education and co have all become tools relevant for your research. People can communicate via countries as well. Now the World Wide Web has made it possible for people to communicate everywhere. We have e-health services. I've mentioned some of these things already. And basically, even television and all those things are tools. But for the purposes of training, when we are doing our research tools, we are going to look at documentation tools, which will include the web processes. We are also going to look at research, example, referencing tools. Even when you want to do references, plagiarism tools, they are also important for research. And then above all, we are looking at platforms like Google Scholar, where you have access to a lot of documents for which you can use for your research. So these are, in a summary, the things that you'll be using for your research online and then offline. As for the auxiliaries like printing, typing, and all those other stuff, you should be familiar with them. Now, what are the importance of some of these tools, and why should a nurse be conversant with these tools? Their ability to liaison between nursing and IT allows them to prevent many costly errors, which is very, very important. Research and development department, R&D departments are important. In many health fields in Ghana, usually the R&D department is isolated from the hospital or from the institution. They are usually on their own. But however, as health moves on, it is important that we have access to these tools. These tools are available to students. You can access them. You can just visit our link and join the classroom. You can have access to these tools like Mendeley, Turnitin, and many other softwares that are helpful for you to actually do your research and do it well. Research is usually done by students, as I said, and by individual or corporate organizations that are independent of the health sector. Student research usually in Ghana is usually difficult because sometimes there is the problem with linking the work in the field with the theoretical aspect, and nurses face the challenge of producing redundant data or not doing any extensive work. But for the purposes of case study and research, I've made mention of the tools that you will need. So now let's look at the concept of system integration and intraoperability and interoperability. Well, the course specifies intraoperability, but I think to understand intraoperability, we need to also understand interoperability. Now, with system integration, what is the nurse looking at, or what are they? Nurses must champion and navigate through the barriers to improve data integration and analysis, as well as information sharing. So our primary concern here is two things. There are technologies coming in vogue. How do we integrate them? Now, the data that we are providing, how do we integrate and how do we make it relevant? Because it is not just a matter of building systems, but making sure that these systems are relevant for the purposes for which they are intended. Practically, this means that nurses will be members of different teams at the same time. This new notion of teamwork contrasts with what is typically recognized as teams in organizational settings. So this is where intraoperability and interoperability comes in. The fact that with interoperability, we are looking at various departments and how they interconnect. Or in terms of software, we are looking at various softwares or various aspects of software. For example, administration, the nursing station, the physician's portal, and then maybe if there is any other portal, how we can make sure that they all work together so that the patient comes, everything is available, everything is accessible. Availability, accessibility, and ensuring privacy and confidentiality is a key thing when it comes to nursing informatics. So the idea of interoperability is how the various departments, the internal departments, work to ensure that in the hospital or in the health field, everybody gets access to proper information. Then when we are talking about interoperability, we are looking at the fact that maybe between hospitals, various hospitals, how their systems can work with other hospital systems or other different organizations' systems. So that is the whole idea of system integration and interoperability. See you.